Yo, it's crazy. We turn around and look for the other partner I grew up with, the one that I said, like, I knew he was a little scary. This dude is nowhere in sight. So we're like, my homeboy's like, yo, where's your man? So I'm looking around. Next thing you know, I see a head peeking up from behind an escalator. And this is like 200 feet back from where we at, almost near a whole nother store. They used to have a store in the back, and then you had the food court. So he was like darn near all the way back or something. I don't know, hide behind an escalator. So I go over there, and I'm like, yo, he was like, yo, go get your man, son. So I go over there, and I'm like, yo, what's good, man? And he peeks his head up like, huh? What's going on? And I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, you know what's going on. I was like, dude, he really tried to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of LB Tales from the Hood. And in the words of DJ Khaled, another one. So, as we're back here on this beautiful Friday afternoon, TGIF everybody, thank God it's Friday, but we're going to jump right into the story. Today's episode is called Watch the Company You Keep. Now this is a very interesting episode because these words ring true. All you guys and gals out there, make sure you watch the company you keep. This is very important. Okay, so this story takes place around the time, I guess I was around 20 or so. I guess it was not too much longer after my previous story. And if you haven't seen my previous story, go back and watch it right now. What's the title of it? Oh, I'm catching a little brain fog right now. What is the title of the last story? Okay. You know what? Whatever. I'm not trying to hold up the video right now. Go back and check my previous story. But in the previous story, I was basically No Man Left Behind. That's it. Yeah, so in the previous story I was talking about, I was hanging with my two friends from childhood that I grew up with. And one of my friends had his homeboy there. So this story here, Watch the Company You Keep, involves the two of the guys that was there for the No Man Left Behind. It was my two homeboys that I grew up with. Okay, here's how that story goes down. One day, the three of us decided to go to Roosevelt Field. We're hanging out. If you don't know what Roosevelt Field is, it's this big mall out in Long Island, New York. So while we're at Roosevelt Field, the two guys that was with me, they was walking a little bit behind me, so I was a little bit more in front. So basically, I guess it didn't really look like we was together, or nobody really knew we was together. So anyhow, I'm walking, actually we was up by the food court, I believe. So we're walking through the food court, and as we're walking by the tables and stuff, I see this guy. It's a guy a little bit shorter than me, and it's another guy he's hanging with, a little taller than me. Actually, he's like 6 feet something, so, he had a little height on me, maybe 6'2", 6'3", whatever. So, the shorter guy, he walks by me, and when he walks by me, when I see people and they seem like they're getting a little too close, I maneuver myself a little bit, so I could just try to avoid them as best as possible. I'm trying to avoid any type of mistakes or accidental bumps, not looking for any problems. So, and it's being respectful. So I'm make sure I'm positioning myself as I'm walking by the guy a little bit, so I'm moving away from him. He purposely moves into me, and it's almost like he slaps my hand, like he's trying to slap me five, like, all right. So when he do that or whatever, I'm looking at the dude as he walked by, and I'm like, man, I said, not today. I'm like, not today, Satan. We not getting into this. Came to just hang out, do my thing, whatever, man. So the guy walks a couple of feet past me, and he turns around and is like, yo, you bumped into me, such and such. So I'm like, here we go again. And you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Another situation, another issue. Now here's the thing. The reason why I believe he was hating, first of all, I believe the two guys was figuring I was by myself and they was going to jump me out here. But I think another reason why they was hating is because that day I was extra fly. Like, most times I'm just in some regular, like, I'm in what I'm comfortable in, man. From the hood, we didn't have much money back then. So, I had to try to develop my fashion on a, basically, peanut budget. You know what I'm saying? When you say a peanut budget, that means it's not working with much money. So I'm used to just wearing hood gear. And another thing too, not that I was doing it for this purpose, but back when I was coming up, back in my days, people who didn't have all these high name brands like, Gucci sneakers and Louis Vuitton and all that. First of all, a lot of dudes in the hood couldn't afford it. And another thing is, who gonna be caught out there in $500 and $1,000 sneakers if you are a baller? In case you get into something in the hood, you gotta stomp somebody out. So most dudes just wore like Tim boots. You might have a fresh pair of Tims, but you get your Tims messed up. They come with the territory, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You feeling good, you might throw on a pair of Jordans, whatever. But, I'm not saying that, you know, I was just in that gear because I was going to stomp anybody. I try to avoid issues. You know, try to avoid any issues, boys and girls. But that day I was extra fly. Back then, if I'm not mistaken, either I had on a fatigue coat or it actually might have been my Andrew Mark. Back then, there was this brand, Andrew Mark, and he made these fly leather coats. And his coats were expensive, upwards to about $1,000. So one day I was shopping, previous, because I had it on that day, I believe. That $1,000 coat, it was marked down about $250, but it was marked down because it was a regular. It had like a small line or something on the side of the coat, but it was barely noticeable. But it was a butter leather, like it was a color butter, like yeah, it was so smooth to the touch. You would think it's like, I don't know, just soft, like touching a baby, like it was butter soft. So yeah, and you know, pause, not like that. Like I'm talking about the baby skin is smooth. Pause. Nothing funny, just want to clarify. People are like, touching bait. No, don't do that. But anyway, so it was smooth. Also, I had a chain around my neck. I think it was like some type of link with a Gucci piece. And here's the thing too. The funny thing about it is, come to find out, I got for that piece. I was on Jamaica Ave one time, and you know the guys that come up to you, man, and open up the trench coat like, check this out, man, right here. I got this chain. And when he whipped it out, he still had the price tag. He's like, yo. Yeah, he closed his coat real quick. We got to keep that in the low, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Still hot. Just picked it up from the store. So, you know, back then I was like, okay, I mean, New York's the home of the boosters. I wasn't thinking it's also the home of the scams. And mostly a lot of people that live here in New York, you know, we got every once in a while. I mean, that happens when you get younger. So I got for the fake Gucci piece. Had the chain. I'm not sure if the chain was... No, actually, I got the necklace from him too. So I think that was fake as well. But, and normally I wouldn't have wore fake stuff. Not at that point in time. When I was younger, back in VA, we did go to the little Asian shop where they had the little, what do you call it? The herringbones for like $10. And you could wear it for like maybe like 2 months before it start turning your neck all green, start itching like, got a crazy rash and all that. But, you know, at that point, I wasn't trying to wear nothing fake. I also had a Movado watch, and I'm trying to think what else. But anyway, point is, you know what I'm saying? I clean up nice, man. I was looking, you know, looking fly like when I clean up, man. But anyway, I think that's why the guy was hating. So after he do that, he's like, yo, what's up? You got a problem or whatever? You know, you bumped into me. I'm like, dude, you like slapped me 5 or something, like you know me. I'm like, your man, like I was like, I was willing to let it go, but I was like, what you trying to do, homie? So he turned around, he's coming up to me like he really wanted, you know, like he trying to square off and jump balls. So I'm like, yo, man, I don't back down. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'll try to avoid fights if I can, but I see he really wanted them problems, and he wasn't trying to let it go, so he stepped to me. So his other man stepped to me too, and I'm like, it is what it is. I was like, you know, even though I had my other 2 partners with me, I'm like, man, look. I'm like, if it's a 2-on-1, we gonna do this, man. Like back in the days, we're gonna do this like Brutus. I'm ready. So my other man, actually, like I said, the other 2, now here's the thing. If you didn't see my previous story, like I said, go back and watch it right now. Not later, not tomorrow, now. But one of the mans, whatever I grew up with, I didn't expect him to step up to the plate or whatever. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, he was my man, but I knew he was a little scary. Now, growing up, here's the thing, and people would probably say, well, why was you hanging with a dude like that? First off, I don't discriminate on people. And here's another thing. When I was younger, you know what my mom always taught me? She always taught me this little rhyme. It goes, make new friends, keep the old, make the new ones silver and the old ones gold. So, you know, me and my man go back to when I was like 10 years old. So it's like, what am I going to do, abandon him? But the funny thing is why I say watch the company you keep. I should have peeped flaws in his character. Because growing up, there have been times he fronted on me. But to me, it was like, okay, small stuff, you know, let it go, slide. And another thing, too, is a lot of the people around us, they considered him weird. He stayed there self. He was in the house. But I didn't discriminate for the fact that when I was in Seattle, Washington, I was all by myself there. Until I made friends, I was by myself for a long time. Well, you know, for a good amount of time when I moved there. Now, here's the thing, though. People were apprehensive to get to know me because I'm black. And I was surrounded, you know, by, you know, white people. I think I had one Latino friend there or whatever. But, you know, they was a little apprehensive because of that. So I didn't want to, I know what it's like to feel isolated and alone. I didn't want him to feel like that. So when he first moved to the neighborhood, I'm like, I don't care. People was like, yo, they was like, you gonna hang with that kid? He's kind of weird. Everybody shied away from him. I'm like, nah. I was like, look, man. I was like, he's, you know, I was like, I'm gonna get to know him. And when I got to know him, I said, he seemed pretty cool. Plus, he's a pretty intelligent guy. I was like, man, look, man. I was like, I don't care if anybody says weird. And I was like, another thing is, you know, when we became really good friends, I was thinking like tight friends, but you know, maybe it was all in my head. But the thing about it is that everybody doesn't always view things the same, even though I thought he was, you know, a real good friend of mine. It's like this, man. You know, I stood up for him. And that's the crazy thing. I would actually stand up. People say he's weird. After I was like, yeah. And I was like, nah, he's good money. I was like, he's my people. And the funny thing is, when I used to hang out, I used to always make sure I include him. Because some people I would, you know, other guys I was with, they would be like, yo, why you hanging with this dude, man? Why don't you leave him at home? Such and such, you know, he ain't cool. And I'm like, man, it ain't about that. I was like, I don't discriminate. If you're my peoples, you're my peoples. And I was like, don't talk about him in front of me. That's not cool. Because I stand up for my people, no matter what. I've always been there for my people from day one. And anybody who know me knows I will stand up for them, whether they're in my face or not in my face. And I got their back to the death of me. So I always stood up for the kids. So anyway, there's a significance of why I'm even saying that now. So my other man, he was, you know, it's nothing to him. he first of all, he got in the issues. And he stood tall. So the other dude, like I said, the shorter guy and the bigger guy, they stepped to me. So my man hurried up. He seen what was going on. And he stepped up and was like, you know what I'm saying, pumped his chest out like, what y'all trying to do? So then that is funny because, like I said, those other two guys thought they were going to jump me. So they thought it was sweet over here. Which, even if they thought they was going to jump me, it ain't going to be that easy. Because with my training and that point in time, with my skill set and me being comfortable in my abilities, I was like, I'll take these two guys easily. You never underestimate your opponent. So, you know, but they excited my anger in the moment. I remember thinking that. Still not going to underestimate them. I'm still going to go through, you know what I'm saying? And another thing is, at that point in time, my skills is muscle memory. So it's not like I have to think through the, you know, the fight if I had to. But I felt confident, you know, I was like, I got it. But my man stepped up. And as soon as he stepped up, all of a sudden, the shorter one that was talking all that, the slap me in the hand, he wanted to start copping the plea. Yo, you know what? It ain't that serious, you know. And then he started talking that 5%er talk. All respect and love to my real 5%ers. I don't know if he really was one, but if we God bodies and we supposed to be guys and all that, he wasn't acting like God body, you know, not even like 30 seconds to a minute prior. So he's like, yo, we guys and we ain't supposed to be beefing or whatever, we brothers. So he started talking that God body told me like, all right, like what you want to do, homie? When you thought you was going to jump me, it was all good. So what's good? Nah, this ain't about nothing. This ain't about nothing. So he's like, all right, these dudes don't want it. So they turned around and walked off. So I'm looking at my man. He's like, yo, it's crazy. We turn around and look for the other partner I grew up with. The one that I said, like, you know, I knew he was a little scary. This dude is nowhere in sight. So we're like, my homeboy's like, yo, where's your man? So I'm looking around. Next thing you know, I see a head peeking up from behind an escalator. And this is like 200 feet back from where we at, almost near a whole nother store. They used to have a store in the back, and then you had the food court. So he was like darn near all the way back or something. I don't know, hide behind an escalator. So I go over there, and I'm like, yo, he was like, yo, go get your man, son. So I go over there, and I'm like, yo, what's good, man? And he peeks his head up like, huh? What's going on? And I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, you know what's going on. I was like, dude, he really tried to start some over there. I thought they was going to jump me, but I was like, it's all good. But I'm like, at the end of the day, even if, you know, I know you don't like to fight, this and that, and whenever we went out, I already knew what it was. If something popped off, I was like, I got to have my back, and I got to have his back too. And I was okay with that. But I was like, at least, like, the numbers went our favor. It was a 3-on-2. So I was like, you don't have to jump in. You know what I'm saying? I don't like jumping nobody. Even if it's 3 of us, it's only 2 of them dudes. I was like, I feel comfortable taking the 2 by myself. My man's here, all respect and love. So either way, the numbers are even up, man. We you know, what is you doing? You could at least just been there. If anything, be the referee, my dude. Maybe you pick up some skills or something watching it if it went down. He's like, nah, what happened is I thought something was going on. So I was back here and I was going to get security to come and help. And I was like, yo, dude, I was like, get security. I said, even if what you're saying is true, which I was like, nobody needed any security. I mean, I'm like, eventually those 2 guys are going to need security in the next minute or 2, how we got into it. But I was like, security? I'm like, how you calling security? You ducking behind the escalator 200 feet away. He said, nah, I was looking out for security. I was like, whatever, dude, whatever. So we leave out, and when we leave out, we do whatever we do in the mall. We leave and we get in the car. So my other man, the one that had poked his chest out, that was ready to throw down on me, we see the dudes walking to the bus stop. So this dude's like, yo, pull over. And I'm like, man, it's over and done with. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we avoided it. You know, all praises to the Most High. We avoided it, thank God. He's like, nah, the way. So I'm slowing down because it looked like he's opening the car door. I'm like, yo, what you doing, my dude? So he opened the car door. He hop out. So I gotta come to stop real quick. You know, put it in park real quick. I'm hopping out the V. My man's in the back. I'm like, yo, I already know what you're gonna do, so stay here. I close my door. I gotta close my man door because he's running up. So he's running up the, you know what I'm saying, because he still want to get at these dudes. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, dude is wilding. But you know what I'm saying, he was stepping the dudes off something that was my beef. Even though, you know, even though I didn't cause it, or, you know, I had to go there, and if he was throwing down with the dudes at this point in time, I had to throw down. That's what it is. Always have your people's back. That's the way I live anyway. So I'm going out there again. He's like, yo, the dudes really started copping the plea. Come on, son. Come on. God body, man. God body. 5%. So he started kicking in knowledge. Yo, the knowledge and wisdom is born understanding, son. We got to have an understanding, God. This, that, and this. So after a while, he really didn't want it. I'm like, yo, I told my homeboy, like, yo, man. You know what I'm saying? First of all, we look like the aggressors if we can't even claim self-defense out here. You know what I mean? Because, you know, man, you know, witnesses out here. I was like, yo, let's just let it ride. He's tight. He's like, I'm ready to get busy. I'm like, nah, man, let the dude go with copping the plea, whatever. His other man, too. Oh, yeah, you know, yeah, we got to do all this, man. So I was like, come on. So we went back to the car. My man was laughing. I was like, yeah, I said, it's crazy how that whole thing turned around. It was funny to me because I was like, dudes, when they think they got the advantage or they going to rat pack you or something, or just really just jump you or whatever, all of a sudden, you know, dudes is Billy badass. They all tough and everything. Now, it's a whole different story. And I'm like, it's only 2 of us. It's 2 of you. It's even, right, dude? You figure you would take me? I was like, no, you figured he was going to jump me. But it's whatever's clever Trevor. So we hop back in the car. We pull up. I'm looking at my man like, this is crazy. The one in the back anyway. My man's in the back. The one that, you know, was hiding 200 feet behind the escalator. And here's the thing, too. The funny thing is, you know, a few years after that, I'm trying to think how many more years after that was it. Probably like another year or 2. The dude was acting like he don't even know me no more. The good friend I grew up with childhood turned his back on me. But I was like, you know what? I shouldn't be surprised he did some snake shit. You know why? Think about it. Coming up, he did little things here and there. We supposed to come out and play. He want to hide up in the house. You know, one time he supposed to have a water fight. We bringing all the water stuff outside. And then he come in the house. He hiding in the house, whatever, making noises. My other man down the block, my man, whatever, good friend of mine, you know, he's like, how you gonna have a water fight with 1 people? So he started dumping a bucket of water in my head, and I was like, I'm trying to get back in, but my other man is fronting on me, but it was like little things like that, and I should have peeped it, and I should have peeped the flaws in the character, but like I said, I'm like, make new friends, keep the old, make the new ones silver and the old ones gold. So, you know, so I stuck by his side to the bitter end, to the end basically when he basically fronted on me. But it is what it is. Not to get too much into that, but like I said, watch the company you keep. And another funny thing is when I first moved back, another kid I grew up with, we was cool. We wasn't tight, but you know what I'm saying? I knew him from around the way. This kid was a Billy badass. Like, he got into everything growing up. Everything. Crazy. Doing all types of things. Maybe robbing, you know, not maybe robbing folk, doing this. So, you know, when I came back, I'm like, okay, I wasn't trying to, you know, it's not like I'm addicted to that, like, yeah, you know, a street guy. But, I mean, we grew up, we was cool. So I bumped into him one day. He's like, yo, what's up, man? What up? You good? Oh, you moved back? He's like, yo, we should go to the tunnel. And back then, the tunnel was wild. But the way the tunnel was, I mean, it didn't matter to me. I was down to go anywhere. I just wanted to hang out and have some fun. So I had heard about it, but I never been. So he's like, yeah, we need to hang out the tunnel. I was like, no doubt, man. I said, yo. I was like, here, gave him the math. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Let me know. We're going to go do that. But then I ran into another homeboy of mine. This one's like a brother to me, my man D. And he told me, he was like, yo, he was like, so I was telling him, yeah, homeboy, whatever. I'm not going to put his name out there. But, you know, homeboy, you know, was talking about hanging out at the tunnel. He was like, nah, my man D was like, he's like, nah, man, you might not want to do that, homie. And I'm like, why? He was like, dude is everybody's friendly neighborhood CI. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He was like, that dude's a CI. If you don't know what that is, confidential informant. So he was like, a lot of dudes that he got locked up, they getting out soon too. And, you know, soon, if that dude better get ghost or he gonna get ghost, somebody gonna make him ghost. So he was like, you don't be hanging around, dude. And I already knew what it was. Like, you know, coming up, you know, when I had been in the hood and, you know, you learn certain things. Even if you're not participating in certain activities or whatever the case is, you have to operate by certain hood rules. So this is a thing. I can't hang around nobody that's snitching. And it's not just because of hood rules or code of conduct. It's also because that's dangerous. Let's say me and him are hanging out, right? I'm like, I ain't worried about all that or whatever. If I was in that mentality, monster, whatever, I'm going to hang with him. Let's say one of them dudes would have got out, or somebody else would have seen him and said, oh, you know, let's start hitting this dude. You think they're going to say, oh, it's man with him, or whatever. We're not going to do that. No. If you with somebody that's like that, you're going to get hit up too. And another thing is, I don't need nobody thinking that I'm doing that because I'm not involved in anything, but also I'm not telling nobody. I don't know nothing, and you know what I'm saying? I have nothing to do with nothing, man. Like certain people, I might hear stuff about them. Oh, this is alleged. That's allegedly. I don't confirm. I don't care. I don't ask nobody what they do. It's another reason why I mainly roll solo dolo. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to end up in a situation where somebody else got me in some nonsense. I end up with a Cody, and they see the Cody snitching on me or whatever. I don't know. Don't need that. So I ain't got time for all that. So somebody, you tell me somebody's snitching, providing information, I'm leaving them alone. We have nothing to do with each other. I don't need anybody to think that that's how I get down. I mind my own business, do what I do. Not involved in the street activity. Hear that? Law enforcement, not involved in any street activity. But at the same time, I'm not dealing with anybody who, you know what I'm saying, may be telling whatever. And like I said, we wasn't hanging. And even though that guy had a reputation growing up, it's not like I was like, yeah, we're going to get into something. Even though I guess technically, even if he wasn't snitching, we did hang out, we could have gotten into something. But, you know, I was like, that's my man, you know, growing up, he's kind of cool, you know. Maybe I hang out the tunnel. Plus, I wanted to go. I didn't know anybody else at the time that wanted to go, so it is what it is. But I had to leave that situation alone. So, like I said, watch the company you keep. I'm glad my man put me on to that info because, you know, that's important to know. Because another thing is, people out in the streets, they'll understand if they see you and they know how your character is. If somebody around you is up to no good, let's say they was snitching and you didn't know, you know, you'll get a pass depending if people know you. But when you know that somebody's doing something, because the streets is always talking, and you knowingly hang out with that person, now it's on you. So if you don't know, you don't know. You can't be mad at somebody if they doing something in the low. But when you know, it's on you now to do the right thing and just stay away from that person. So, like I said, watch the company you keep. You don't want to get snaked by dudes, and you know, life is crazy like that, man. Another thing is, I've had people I came up with, and you know, I'm thinking they're my friends, but every time, let's say we hanging around a group of guys, as soon as those other guys leave, they talking about them. Or if we hanging out with another person, they talking about that person as soon as they leave. But to me, in my head, okay, I'm like, that's a little grimy, a little dirt McGirt right there, but at the same time, like, this is my man if we grew up together, but not thinking like, okay, when I'm not in his presence, he probably talking about me, you know? So, you know, I let a lot of little things slide, and later on in life, when these people end up coming back and they end up snaking you, then you realize you're like, the signs was there all along. So that whole make the new ones silver, keep the old ones gold. I respect my mother. She taught me things, and everything she taught me, I kept it literal, but it doesn't always apply. And in this situation, you got to peep those flaws in people's character. But I took everything my mom said literally. She told me, don't lie, be honest all the time. Being honest a lot of times caused me more problems than I could have avoided if I would have lied. But you know what? I took my mom's stuff literally, and I took those L's and I took it in the chin whenever I did have to take a loss. I said, whatever, man. I'd rather tell the truth, because then I don't have to sit here and figure out a lie. And second of all, I stand on what I stand on. I did it. If I made a mistake, I could apologize to somebody. But whatever I do, I stand on what I stand on. Just like these suckers on the internet try to come at me sideways in these comments. I'm not fighting nobody. I ain't a keyboard warrior. I'm like, if anything, pull up in real life, man. Don't be on the internet beefing and talking. Yeah, first of all, I'm never going to see these people anyway. But I'm like, I don't even pay attention to nonsense. They can't anger me. So when they talk crazy, I hit them with intelligence and say such and such and such. Keep that same energy offline, player. But I'm not cursing anybody, because you know what they said? Like Jay-Z said in this line. I think he bought it for somebody, but a wise man said, don't argue with fools. People from a distance can't tell who is who. I don't argue with fools, man. Too intelligent for that. So like I said, I'm not going to drag this on. This episode is kind of long. Basically, you get the gist of the message. Watch the company you keep, man. Stay away from them suckers. Do the right thing, you know what I mean? Keep your head right, and also keep your nose clean. You know, don't commit crime, guys. You know, follow the LB way. You know, LB looks cool and everything. That's why I try to be a role model for the kids. Whether you want to or not, if you're a public figure and people see you're going to be a role model. And I got 2 children of my own. I'm a role model to them. They're friends. They see me. Some of them look up to me maybe. I'm a role model to them. So I make sure that I do the right thing, man. Do the right thing, man. Your father out here, take care of them kids too. That's important, man. Watch the company you keep. And until next time, we're going to end this bad boy. And till next time we have another one, is chill to the next episode. Your boy LB signing off, man. Like I said before, man, I love all you guys out there. I got love for the whole world, man. I'm trying to change the world, be the change I wish to see in the world, man. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. So go out there, be respectful, carry yourself with integrity, morals. A lot of people don't. That's why you find me rolling solo dolo a lot of times. Like I said in my last video, if I'm going to be the realest one in the room, I'm going to be the only one in the room. So keep it solid. Watch the company you keep. Watch that circle before they hurt you. Borrowed that from big YouTuber Son Campbell. Shout out. Gotta give credit where credit's due. Pay homage. And we out. Till next time. Peace.